Welcome again to F1 2013 career season number 2, round number 7, Montreal, Canada. We're here, of course, in a hot lap. Made it easily into Q3. My pace throughout these sessions and practice alike was quite dominating. I was 1.4 seconds quicker in practice than the next man. And even in wet conditions, intermediate tires in Q1 and Q2, it was quite easy. So now, of course, I have to do it on dry, which my car was mostly set up for, of course. Go a bit wide here. We'll turn into this first straight, slightly curved. We head onto a little bridge. Go wide again, slam it over the curbs. Take a bit of grass as I attack the chicane. But so far, pretty smoothly. Not really hurting my lap times at all. Bit wide here in the hairpin. Missed the apex by quite a margin. Smooth acceleration. Opening the DRS. Making up to kilometers an hour. Into the rev limiter, braking hard. Attacking the chicane quite nicely. A little bit wide, but staying very clear from the World Champions. And there you go, a 1:12.958. There you go. And that's easily enough for pole position. By around 4/10 for the next man, Fernando Alonso, Sebastian Vettel, Lewis Hamilton, Nico Rosberg, Felipe Massa, Mark Webber, Kimi Räikkönen and Nico Hülkenberg round up the top 10 here today. And there you go. Quite a margin more than I expected. Or actually a little bit less than I expected, to be honest, since my pace was so dominant earlier. There you go, little celebrations. And parked firm, mate. Still need to update the helmet design, haven't done that yet. Gotta do that soon. No sponsors. So anyway, that's qualifying done. Have to start the race from pole position. And I am expecting a quote-unquote easy race. But of course, the race pace of this Lotus can sometimes be a bit disappointing. You never know. The weather conditions are in my favor. It's a little bit cloudy, but not as cloudy as was during qualifying, and there's no rain forecast. So far I decided to stick with the strategy the game gave me. I was pretty sure I could last longer given my earlier experiences here on these option tires, but I just kept it in here and I could adjust it on the fly if necessary to stay out longer on the opening stint and go in for a second set of options, maybe again or later on in the race. So here you see the rest of the grid. So Ricciardo, good qualifying for him in 11th, and it's Button, Maldonado, Di Resta, Gutierrez in 15th, Sutil in 16th, Bottas in 17th, Jean-Eric Verne 18th, Charles Pic, Guido van der Garde in 20th, 21st for Jules Bianchi, and Max Chilton in 22nd place all the way at the back. For some reason I'm checking this here, I'm not even sure why, just wondering. Thinking about life, maybe checking the race strategy again. Doubting if I should change it. But I decided might as well leave it as it is for the time being. And just head out on track. So, if I don't botch the start, I should be coming out first. Or at least I want to come out first after the first few corners. And then it's just a matter of controlling the race. And it's my own... well, yeah, the race would be in my own hands to lose, actually. Fernando second, there you go. Kimi all the way down in 8th. He's quite a way slower than me as well. 70 laps to go. Going to lean mix since it helps me getting off the line a bit better without too much wheel spin. 5 lights. And away we go. The launch is not too great. Alonso was also already next to me as a good launch. I bogged down in second gear. Used curse to compensate. Brake a bit later than him, letting it run in. Take a bit of the inside, but still smoothly with no contact. Back into first place. Switch up back to standards pretty much immediately. And it's job done for the start. Mission succeeded. Now it's time to see if I can pull a gap. I tried to take it in second. Wasn't quite going to work on the heavy fuel loads. Bit of a light twitch. But already 1.2 seconds ahead of Alonso. Easily out of the DRS zone within one sector. Go a bit wide here, overjudging the weight of the car still. So that chicane was a bit problematic during the race more often than not. Breaking early but still too late as it goes very, very wide. And chicane giving Alonso a sniff back in. So he's right up my gearbox now, which is a bit not what I wanted. I would have liked to keep that gap. Well possible. Checking the fuel situation, plus 1 lap, set on to normal, should be fine, alright. Didn't think I would need any high mix to defend. Creates the wall of champions on the open long lap already. Not a good start, I suppose. Could could spell some trouble later on, but otherwise it's quite alright. There you go. Lap 2, again smoothly through this first sector, in the corners nicely, slowing it down to first gear. 1.4 seconds is the gap to Alonso, so I got him safely out of the DRS zone again, which of course I don't want him behind me. The DRS becomes active into lap 3, because you can use it twice in a row. And then there's only one detection zone, which is around this area here. Breaking it even earlier, stopping it nicely, hit the apex. 1.4 seconds remains the gap as we throttle onwards. Just over 300 kilometers at the end of the straight before braking for the chicane. Very smooth on left, a bit of curves, suffering some added acceleration. Because the exit of the chicane is pretty much where they are weakest on this track. They tend to slow down. There you go. See, 2.2 seconds of the gap. So that's almost 8 tenths gain in that last sector, which is mostly straight. Of course, same the fastest lap of the race at this time, 1:18.508. We're going to lap number 3 already. Already a green sector 1, so I'm actually quicker than the previous lap. 2.4 seconds, gained another 2 tenths on Alonso. Or on Hamilton now, actually. Alonso dropped back, so he made a mistake somewhere. Or something else might have happened, I don't know. You can see that, of course, is all happening way behind me, but we're still at 22 contenders, so he's not out of the race. He's not yet, anyway. So Hamilton has taken 2nd place. Massa is now in 3rd. 2 seconds. Hamilton gained a little bit on me in that middle sector. They were, generally speaking, a bit quicker than me there. Depending on how well I managed to slither my way through that sector. And of course, this last sector was always easily a couple of tenths gain for me in 3rd gear. A bit too much jump over the curb, more than I would like. Can upset the car and just smash you straight into the wall. But of course, still another purple lap time at 1:18.286, quicker by about 2 tenths. And those 2 tenths that I lost, I gained right back in that last sector. So didn't win as much as in the first laps, but of course Alonso, there you go, still in 4th, and we have already someone out of the race. In lap 3, start of lap 4, someone's already gone. And I actually did a very good first sector, it seems, 6 tenths faster than my previous lap time. Took a bit too much on the inside, have to make a bit of a swerve to get myself back where I need to be. And actually sort of mess up this thing again. Like I said, this gave me some issues, but yeah, you can go on quite a bit. 7 tenths up on my previous best, 2.8 seconds now. With Hamilton behind me, Massa 2 seconds behind him. Always leaving a bit of curves. Into 7th gear. Of course, not anywhere near the rev limiter. Go too much, have to just wallop it over the curbstones. Not the way you want it. There you go, still 6 tenths quicker than last lap, and a setting of 1:17.624. It's the fastest lap of the race. There you go, confirmation there. 3.2 seconds is the gap. So already slowly starting on working that gap. So we're going to move a little bit further ahead. Lap 9. And setting the purple sector there.
We think the car behind is running on.
Now somewhere during this first stint I knocked my front wing off, at least damaged it. Didn't have to slow down anyway. It was in the early laps, I'm not sure when it was, but it was not in the video. Or probably not in the video. There you go, see lap 9, still trying hard. Again that sector curves massively, not the ideal way to take the chicane. What kind of time did we set anyway? 1:17.577. So I sharpened the fastest lap of the race, and Hamilton is 5 seconds adrift. Less than third. Vettel in fourth, but he is very close to Felipe Massa. They're pushing hard still, and immediately setting another purple sector, trying to take it in second, just about managing it. But it upsets the car a little bit on the exit. Always a bit tricky, that one. 5.7 seconds is the gap. 5.7 seconds is it still in lap 11. Massa's dropping a bit further back compared to Hamilton as well. So Hamilton, yeah, mostly managing my pace. A slight tweak to the fast lap, not by much it seems. It was 1:17.561. It's now the fastest lap of the race. 6.3 seconds is now the gap. Vettel's still very close behind Felipe Massa. It's probably a matter of time until Vettel finds his way past. Lap 15. That's where pretty much my first planned pit stop was. 6 seconds is the gap. There you go, you can see the notification on the right where the damage is on the front wing. Of course reduced the gap that I had a little bit on Hamilton due to that mistake, and already catching up the back marker teams. But so far I dutifully ignore the engineer telling me to pit. Maldonado comes out on fresh tyres. He's in 18th now. Whoever that Toro also was took a nice advantage of Maldonado slowing down for me. Steals that 18 positions away from me. Probably will sneak by the Marussia as well. 17 seconds, Hamilton has entered the pits. So now probably one of the, well, maybe the only guy now who hasn't pitted yet. And now it's you know, it was basically me seeing if I could actually match that pace and even gain a bit more. So it starts well, the gap is now 18 seconds, gained a bit more than that. So slowly still managed to extend a little bit, so pace seems fine at the moment. Tires look a bit worn but not too bad. There you go, we gained a little bit, not too much, it's fine. Knowing of course, don't want to lose too much since I have to swap the front wing as well, since all of the game forced you to swap a wing. That's a 7 seconds drift of Hamilton, and Vettel is still behind the Ferrari driver. I'll move into lap 17. And my goal in this first stint was about lap 19, lap 20. Actually managed to set a purple first sector, which was quite a surprise in this stage, considering the wear levels of the tires, and 18.4 is the gap, so still some good speed in these tires. Tire wear not an option, go a bit wide there, can really get the car turned in. .1 seconds quicker than my previous lap. And a purple second sector as well. Take a little bit more extra curves, slightly underneath the 100k left as I zip down the long straights. Just wondering if I could take it. Ooh, there you go, Grace Hall of Champions. No further damage to the front wing. course, that ruins any chance of getting improving the fastest lap. So one lap further ahead, lap 18. And we see Williams. Valtteri Bottas in 14th place, having to slow down. 1:17.906, still only 4/10 slower than my quickest lap, so the tyres are still good, and the gap has actually increased to 19.3 seconds, so still actually quicker than they are on the worn option tyres than they are on much fresher prime tyres, which is of course, you know, good news for me. Bit of a light tail slide there. So here I am thinking now, right, I'm gonna pit this lap. Okay, the tires hold out for one more. Vettel improves the fastest lap, only by a 10th, which is not as much as you would expect at this point. I was pretty confident if this I could make the tires last. I would easily get the hat trick here if I manage to win. Being of course pole position, fastest lap, and the win, and also sort of aiming to lead every lap of this race, which is of course so far done. We get a bit of a wobble, but still a decent time, only 1/10 off my quickest lap at that point in the race, which is only like then what's 2/10 slower than the fastest lap of the race, mind you. So we're still doing well, but now they started to drop off. We couldn't make that corner already. 20th lap was a bit pushing it too much. Take it down to first. Slender here. Now Hamilton improves the fastest lap. Still only a 10th quicker, my personal best. More slowly through the chicane, still 19 seconds is the gap. Selecting prime tyres, signing for longer stints. Aiming to go around 30-31 laps. This next stop. Pit lane entry is always nice. Go to lean mix before I enter. Let's go in full speed, the game will slow you down anyway. And here we are, ready to swap tyres and get a new front nose. Here we go. Quite nicely, wing goes off, tyre guys are already done. It takes a bit longer, 5.6 seconds, not bad at all. So now we're of course going to find out how much of that gap is still left after this pit stop. It was 19 seconds, effectively it was around 6 seconds before they entered the pits. It's a very, very, very quick pit lane here.
You're on the prime tire.
Initial reports say 4.6 seconds. And Hamilton further sharpens the fastest lap to 1:17.313. Take it a bit easy, the tires of course still cold. 3.9, so I lost about 2 seconds, which is pretty much the wing change. So pretty much I'll try and send the gap again. Ooh, tyres still not quite working well through that chicane. Slightly touched the wall there, at least the backhand did. Slightly wide in the hairpin as well. And I reckon Hamilton had to slow down there for a back marker. Suddenly the gap is 5 seconds. And Vettel now has made it into third place, some 8 seconds behind him. The gear is throwing it over the chicane again. 1:17.96 on my first lap out of the pit lane. 5.1 seconds is the gap. So after one lap out, I'm back to almost what the gap was, which was around 6, 7. And so I would say, yeah, lost about 2 seconds because of the wing change. It means the option tyres got the pace nicely. Immediately set a purple first sector.
You're being followed by Hamilton. He's 5 seconds behind.
5.1 seconds, sort of matching my pace at the moment. much issues
You're
as
coming
of
up
yet.
to a lapped car. Be careful when
Bottas
overtaking.
again. Still in 14th place.
We think the car behind is running on full revs. He's trying to close the gap.
Hamilton on full rest, trying to close the gap. He's matching my pace, as you can tell. Still 5.1 seconds. Vettel still a decent ways behind him. A little bit better now. Ooh, but still grace the wall on the exit. That will be the Wall of Champions. But there you go, a 1:16.698. So that's about what? 7/10 quicker than they were.
Great work. That's a new fastest lap for the
What,
race.
6/10 I would say, yeah. Hamilton did 1:73, so yeah, that would be 6/10 quicker on my first lap. So immediately responding to him, you could say, and immediately setting another purple sector. So we're gonna zoom ahead to lap 27. And I really take that chicane poorly, just cut way too much on the inside. Game doesn't even give me a warning for it. So that probably wins me a lot of time. There you go, yeah, 1:16.135. But that chicane was not quite taken that politely. 6.8 seconds is the gap. Now slowly starting to work on extending that gap once more. I'm gonna zoom ahead again. There you go, lap 37. That's a bit of a jump. But of course, not much happens in the meantime. 10 seconds now is the gap. 9 seconds is the gap from Vettel to Hamilton. Decent next guy, the hairpin. And on to the main straight. 11 seconds suddenly is now the gap, so Hamilton had to slow down again significantly for somebody. Gap remains 11 at another interval. Oop. Still a bit of a slidey through the chicane, but much smoother than hitting the wall. 1:16.405. And in the meantime, I also improved the fastest lap to 1:16.040. 12 seconds now, so Hamilton is starting to lose some pace. It seems maybe he's starting to suffer. Lap 43, so around lap 44, 45, the A is probably going to pit. There you go, the I is already telling me to pit this lap. Going wide through the marbles. Oh, what do you want to do? 16 seconds is now the gap. Vettel has already taken his pit stop, so that means probably Hamilton will take it this lap. With 21 seconds, he should be safe. Again, I sort of cut the inside there, the entry to the chicane. So we're getting rapidly on Lewis. 18 seconds is the gap. I actually managed to get faster still, but I go wide here. And sort of mess up the exit as well, to the corner. Let's zoom on to the straight. Seconds. It seems like Hamilton hasn't pitted yet. As the gap didn't really make a jump yet, so he's staying out a bit longer. Why did you change my curse usage? Using all of it on this straight to get a bit more top end speed. 18 seconds is now the gap from Vettel to Hamilton. So Hamilton shouldn't wait too much longer before the gap's completely gone and he comes out behind the German. 1:16.2, a solid lap, 2:10 down on my personal best. Yeah, we're 28 seconds behind Sebastian. So they're having a good race so far.
car behind has just fitted a set of prime tyres.
There you
prime
go.
Tyres.
Hamilton has pitted. Getting another prime set. I still got around 5 more laps to go till I can stop. 5, 6. Say more laps to go. 32 seconds is now the gap to Lewis Hamilton. Working quite nicely. Also, a little side note, I hadn't changed my engine at all. I was still running on the first engine in Monaco, so yeah, swapped it. Finally remembered to swap it to a new engine for this Grand Prix. And now I've got, like, I think, quite a few engines left for the remainder of the season. And as I improved the fastest lap by only just, it was still in the 1/16 region, but now it's, instead of a 0.40, it's now a 0.24. But still, worn tires, less fuel, but the primes were not too grippy for me there. Oh, let's see, there it grazed the wall there. So lap 51. I reached my target lap. Alonso is behind me on fresh tires. Getting a much better traction, of course. He's right behind me. But since he's a lap down, he's gonna look for an overtake. Look again, but he's not really gonna do it. Very early, of course. I just basically just ball straight on into the pit lane as I make my final pit stop, and actually managed to extend the gap a little bit further on these tires compared to Hamilton anyway. And Alonso is actually currently the man with the fastest lap at this time, 33 seconds. And the standard mix again. Rosberg now sets the fastest lap with a 1:15.7. That's Felipe Massa, giving me just enough space on the exit, so not being held up for him. Grazed the wall on the exit again there. 23 of a second slower than the previous lap. It's about the only track where your outlap here can actually be as quick as your usual race laps, just because the start-finish line is pretty much at the exit of the pit lane. And the pit lane sort of misses the first couple of corners anyway, so you have actually no time. There you go, 2/10 up. Sliding into the hairpin. Car manages to find grip before I have to go down the throttle. 21 seconds is the gap. Of course, when I'm on much quicker tyres than they are, switching to Rick's mix, 3 laps of fuel, keeping an eye on that level as I decide to throw in some hot laps. Oof. Big wobble. And bam, a 1:15.287. 8/10 quicker than my previous best, and a lot quicker than anybody else who have done it this time. 4/10 quicker than what Alonso just did. Poor guy. Just at the first lap, only to lose it a second later to myself. But of course, that was still actually effectively my outlaps. As you can tell, I'm already a second quicker. Now that I'm my first proper lap after the pit stop. There's already somebody ahead of me. Maybe I got lucky and get some DRS off of him. It's a Caterham driver, it seems, slowing down for me. It's my fellow Dutchman. There we go. Go a bit wide. Not too bad. 22 seconds is now the gap. Lewis Hamilton and Vettel is a bit closer than he was before. I do get DRS, which is nice, which will help, of course, reach the top end. Not too much, actually. Nice line through the chicane this time around. And bam! 1:13.920. 1.3 seconds faster than my previous lap. And that, of course, gave me a lot of time towards the competition. Lap 54. Bam, another improvement. 1:13.732. So I'm flying. Still, of course, rocking the rich mix that you saw. Nico Rosberg lapping a lot of people, even people in the top 10. Another improvement to 1:13.469. So, lap 65. More or less a little bit started to hit cruise mode now. Trying to see if we can gain some more time, but not really making a priority out of it. So there you see some cars coming up. We got Force India. I can't really make that up on the video here just yet. Somebody goes aside. It's probably a Williams. Then the Force India slows down, goes aside, but then goes to the race line. I slam into him, spin him around, spin myself around. Both hit the damn gravel, and I get a penalty to boot for causing a collision. Well, Force India went to the racing line when it was right behind him. There goes Alonso again. But there you go. I wasn't too worried. Since, you know, it's a huge amount of gap that I had towards the enemy. But yeah, that was a bit of a scare. And I was really, really happy actually. Didn't even think about it at the time, but I should have been happy that I got away with no damage to the car itself. That means I have to make another pit stop, and then the gap would disappear quite rapidly. So I'm going to lean Nix, serve the penalty immediately, just fly it into the pit lane. 28 seconds. So the gap was 43 seconds.
The track is clear. Track is clear.
And we'll see when I reach the first sector. See what was actually left of that now. Coming out just behind the Marussia. .22 seconds when Hamilton reaches the start-finish line. Chilton goes out of the way nicely. So 22 seconds still, Charles Peak, and there's someone else in front of me. Braking hard, very slow as Ricciardo to take avoiding action over the little AstroTurf where there's no grip whatsoever. A bit of almost a car pile up. Caused by the Toro Rosso going very, very slowly through that chicane. Probably had to slow way down to leave somebody else past him. Doesn't really matter.
I think this might be our finishing position.
There's Nico Rosberg in 6th.
Bring the car home.
Place he goes, takes a strange line here. He's struggling for grip, it seems. I go around him on the outside through the marbles. See you, man. I would like to take your car, put it a lap down. You're welcome. Seconds of the gap still. Hamilton running a good pace on those prime tires. I am not to do much about it, but again I have to dodge the other cars on occasion. Save up some fuel. First there you go, 6/10 slower than the previous lap. Hamilton keeping the gap at 22 seconds. Of course, my tyres have also seen better days at this point. Go to Rick's mix for the last lap, see if he can maybe improve on that fastest lap. Actually saved a bit of curves as well for this little straight. So 1:13.469 is the fastest lap, and we'll only see on the results page whether I actually managed to improve that or not. And the third, decent line through there. Purple first sector, so starting off the lap well. Very smooth exit over here, that's just good. Doesn't really compromise my acceleration. Caterham, again the Dutchman passing in at the same location again. There is Sutil. The guy who almost got me into some really big trouble. Goes out of the way properly this time. Doesn't do anything weird. Get DRS as well off him, which helps a little bit with the straight line speed. Okay, to optimal, doesn't really matter. So close to the finish line anyway. Take the curbs. take the shortest line possible to the finish line. Checkered flag and a victory in Montreal. Finally, I reached the top step again after so many second and third places, and I extend my lead undoubtedly in the championship for the people behind. So, won the race, Lewis Hamilton second, Sebastian Vettel.
Fantastic.
Yeah, thank you very much. Sebastian Vettel in third, Fernando Alonso fourth, Mark Webber fifth, Nico Rosberg sixth, Felipe Massa went down to seventh in the end after starting so well early on. Kimi only 8th place, still scraping up a few points for the team. Sergio Perez in 9th and Nico Hülkenberg in the Sauber in 10th. Then it's Jensen, Button, Gutierrez, Valtteri Bottas moved up quite a bit from 17th up to 13th. Sutil in 14th, Maldonado 15th, Daniel Ricciardo 16th, and Paul Ricci 17, Charles Pic 18, Max Chilton 19, Jules Bianchi 20th, Guido in 21st, and the DNF for Jean-Eric Verne. So checking the race incident, 1 hour 22 minutes in, of course, major collision, that's what they call it. A drive-through for myself. You saw me just running through the camera. And there you go.
You're still first in the Drivers' Championship. You're doing an excellent job.
120 points, 18 points behind is Lewis Hamilton in second place. Third is now Sebastian Vettel, and Alonso has been dropped down to fourth. Kimi is still in 6th place with 53 points. Behind him, Felipe Massa. I would say Nico still has a disappointing amount of points. I figure he'd be further up. And Jensen is not even in the top 10 at this time. Glenn Driver being outclassed by his teammate. And there you go, everybody up until Ricciardo has points, so 15 drivers in the points. Lotus hanging on to the Constructors' Championship, but Red Bull is closing in at 166 points, so only 7 points behind the Lotus F1 team Mercedes in 3rd place. So thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed this race, and I will be here next time when we go to round number 8, which is Silverstone. See you guys there, bye bye.